If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Drumheller?
Here.
Mr. Denise?
Here.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mr. Renzi?
Present.
Mr. Morrow?
Here.
Ms. White?
Ms. White, she's
Here.
going to be
Can
on
you hear
Zoom.
me?
She's there.
Oh, here she is.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Okay, the next thing is announcements and agenda modifications. Do you have any, Antoine?
No agenda modifications, thank you.
Anything from up here? We'll go into the approval of the minutes from the July 24th meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those?
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion, we accept them if no one has any objections.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, approved. And we'll go to public input. I see some folks here, so public input is for anything that is not on our agenda tonight. So if you have something that you would like to discuss that is not an agenda item, you're welcome to come up now. Okay, all right, so we don't have that. All right, so we'll close public input and go to unfinished business, item A, current project updates.
All right, so the project at Filbert Street, the shipping looks like it's about 3 weeks away, and the schedule for starting that is probably 6 weeks away. The delay is the shipping for the materials, and there's not a lot we can do about that. I wish there were. You know, we picked the company and we moved forward with it, and now we're just a little bit at their mercy. I do send them emails all the time, and we'll end up having a site meeting in about 3 weeks to start that project. As far as the Easy Street project, we're scheduled to start this Thursday.
Oh.
We'll have a short meeting at 9 a.m. with the installer and his crew and the president of the company, and then we'll move forward on that project that day to make sure they have the sufficient space they need to install their equipment. And I think that catches up with all our projects.
Okay, thank you. Item B is committee member park updates. Would you like to start, Mr. Morrow?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Main Street Boat Ramp, the Yacht Club, and pickleball courts, everything is going fine. Nothing to report.
Mr. Denise?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, the parks all look good. I did have a comment about the tennis courts, and talking to the people there, everybody seems to be happy. I did get some resident about voting for the pickleballs. They wanted to make sure that we weren't going to use tennis courts for pickleball, and I told them that was not part of our agenda, but they only asked if there was any suggestions. The only suggestion I had was because of the extreme heat we had, if we could put a dome over it, and in the rainy season it could open up. But I think the parks that I've adopted are in beautiful shape.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
So Bryant Historic are both in excellent shape, and then the Kildare Park / Schumann Lake Park, we still haven't come to a decision on that. Hopefully we will have a decision before the meeting next month.
Okay, good. Mr. Renzi?
Yeah, Stormwater Park's in good shape. Friendship Park, no problem.
But Riverview Park, I was wondering, on the south side of Riverview Park, by the RPAT dry cleaners, is there anything in the works to pave that parking area? It's getting kind of rough over there.
There's nothing in place right now, but what I can do is bring our roads crew out there and have them help us out by grading that area off, making it a little bit better.
Yeah, it's breaking up a lot, and there's always rocks and pebbles that you're gonna walk on if you get out of the car.
Right, I think if we come in and pour some aggregate on the ground and make it more of a sustainable entry and exit, I think that would probably help in the interim while we look at, moving forward with some pavement or something
That'd be great.
more
Otherwise, the park's in great shape.
Ms. White?
Nothing on Easy Street. I don't know, at the last meeting, I think Brian was gonna check to see why the historical park is called a park. He said he was gonna go back and they were gonna see if they could find some history on that park because it's pretty much just a green area.
So the history on the park is, as I understand it, it was named a park in conjunction with when they thought they owned more land than the city did. They had, in the 70s, they had plans to pave part of that, and that's when they realized that really wasn't our property. They're currently working on actually straightening out part of that property and doing some upgrades to that quote-unquote park. So it is a park, it's but more of a passive area.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't really need to put anything in there. I don't know if anybody ever uses it anyway. I haven't seen anybody, but I was just wondering why it's still called a park and just leave it as a green area.
I agree.
So my parks, my only question about the garden park is it's getting overrun with lily pads and stuff in the actual little lake there. It's looking like it hasn't had much work done in a while. I see that kind of around as I do some of my walks. I don't know if it's this year. It just looks like a little worse than it has been in the past.
Right, so we hire a company, it's called Applied Aquatics, to come in and manage that lake. It's really a retention, but I think they're scheduled to come out after October. And that would be the soonest they'd come out and treat the water. But it seems like, when you go after, you don't go after the lily pads as much as you're going after more of the invasive species that are growing in and around it. So it may always look like it's overgrown, and there's a very shallow spot where the not the wood storks, but the what are the big birds called? That nest there.
Yeah.
So, we don't want to endanger them by spraying any pesticides on those.
Okay. All right, tell us about what's happening at Riverview Park.
So the upcoming events at Riverview Park, of course, we have Patriot Day over by the splash pad, and that will be just about a 15-minute ceremony. It goes quickly. We schedule it for an hour. We'll block the roads, and we'll have a little ceremony in Memorial Day, and that's about it. Then September 23rd, we're going to do Hunt for Hope, Florida, which is Holly Hamilton runs that. It's a fundraiser for cancer, and that generally lasts from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then we have the homecoming event on, it'll go from October 10th, it'll go from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that'll be a parade down Indian River Drive beginning at the Main Street boat ramp and ending at Riverview Park.
Okay.
The road closure will start about 3 p.m. and it'll open up right behind the parade. So we'll get traffic flowing right after that. Saturday, October 14th, 10 to 3 is a craft club event. And then, of course, it's a free event. And there's not a lot for us to do as the city. The craft club comes in and provides everything. On Thursday, October 19th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. is community night out for the Sebastian Police Department. They'll provide all kinds of fun things to do and for the city. The road closure will begin at 3 p.m. and will be done by 8 p.m. The roads will be back open, and that really will just be the road closure from Harrison Street to Coolidge. So very short road closure. October 21st is the Boo Bash. It's at Riverview Park. That's put on by Barb Snow. It's really projected to affect about 600 people coming and going, and should be a good time for the locals in the community to come out.
Excuse me, what do they do for a Boo Bash? It's different than the Halloween event we have.
This is really more of a for-profit. It's not a non-for-profit. We don't sponsor, the city doesn't sponsor the event. And she brings in different crafts and different craft events. Okay? Okay, so Friday, October 27th is our Halloween event, movie night. That's where we sponsor the Halloween event. We're going to close the road about 5 p.m. This year we're going to include some Jeeps doing trunk or treat in the road closure. After we close the roads at 5 p.m., they'll come in. They'll set up all their free candies for all the kids that attend the event or whoever passes by. And it seems to be they have a very good hold on what they've done in the past down in Fort Pierce, and they want to move up and help us out, which we encourage that. We'll have the Halloween costume contest registration will start about 5:30, and 6:15 we'll have the costume contest. Meanwhile, the trunk or treat will be going on as well, and after we judge that, we'll be done about 6:45, and 7 o'clock we hope to start the movie night out and continue with the movie night, and we should have no issues. The Jeeps will exit right where they came in from, not affecting the roadway at all. They'll enter and exit right back through the rear part of the splash pad where it approaches the War Memorial. There's a little concave V in that area, and we'll take a few boards down so they can drive out and drive right back in the way they came. So it shouldn't inhibit anybody, and they'll be right back. They'll be able to exit north or south, either direction, without interfering with our movie night.
Who sponsors them? If they're coming and they're going to give candy out, do we give them the candy, or how does that work?
No, they sponsor themselves. Ironically, they go out and fundraise for everything, and we have no investment, and they show up with their 20 Jeeps. We line them up on the road with the trunks facing the street, and they give out candy. It doesn't cost us a dime.
So then we do the prizes for the costumes.
Yes.
Do we then want to have bags for the kids to get candy if they're going to have all those Jeeps? I mean, I don't know if kids always bring candies we haven't done that before for the Halloween thing. So I'm just wondering if we want to have bags or something for them.
Yeah, we'll definitely, you know, have bags provided. There'll be lots of room inside of the bags that we hand out the candy with. Additionally, on our flyers, we'll put, you know, please bring, you know, sufficient amount of places to put all your candy and take them with you.
Sounds like a fun night. Can't wait to get dressed for that.
Awesome. So that's the end of the October 27th Halloween event. October 28th, right after that, we have the Junior Blue Water Open. That's really not, we provide some chairs and tables for them, and that's the extent of what we do for them. And that takes us into the 28th, where Captain Hiram's does a cleanup. They go around and, you know, they bring back trash from the island and put them in dumpsters, and then they haul the dumpsters away. And that takes us right up until November.
So are you still, I know that the committee members have participated in the costume judging in the past? Are you still looking for us to do that?
That would be great. If you'd like to do that, I'll write your names down, and you will be awarded a seat at the ceremony.
Oh, so would you like committee members to email you if they're interested in being a judge?
Yeah, that would be great. You could just email me at my email address.
The other thing too is we've been doing this for quite a few years. It's been hit and miss on judging and scoring. I think we had it down pretty good last year. I think Brian has all the materials for the scoring and that, so we don't really have to reinvent anything to do that.
That sounds great.
So
We'll
you
keep
have
going.
access to all of those?
Yes, we're just
okay.
gonna do it just the way we did last. The only change will be we're adding the trunk or treat with the Jeeps.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Is there any public input related to this conversation? Please come forward. If you would just give us your name for the record.
Hello, my name is David Havens. I've been a resident of Sebastian for about 40 years. And I don't know if this is the right time or not, but I'm a pickleballer, so I wanted to just input on some of the information that I saw online as far as maybe the proposal to add more courts to the park out by the airport out there. So I just would like to say that it's a magnificent facility that you've provided for us at this point, and I would definitely look forward to more courts, because there are times, and there are pretty specific times, where it gets really busy, and then the other times it's not busy at all, but it's 105 heat index out there and all that. So I guess my main concern is maybe the financial end of it. I saw that it was going to be close to $1 million if we got the full-scale new courts out there. And I don't know if that's, you know, fiscal responsibility or not. This is just my personal input. I'd like to see the lower amount, which I believe was around $350,000 just for the new courts, and take it from there, I guess. It seems like the bathroom facilities are sufficient for the most part there. Parking could probably use more, but there's a field that's adjacent to the parking areas that people use. I don't know if that's appropriate or not. But just my 2 cents. Pickleball is fastly becoming a great sport, important sport. It's a sport that can be used by all age groups. We have pickleball clubs being established now at the high school, and of course, pickleball mainly is started out for us old folks, that we'd still have some physical exercise in a limited amount. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you so much. And I think that on our last meeting, Brian was going to bring back some information probably next month, if we can make sure it's on an agenda item, to discuss a little bit more about the pickleball from what we discussed at our last meeting.
Right. I'm only aware of the information that he gave you in my talking with him, is what the, the allocation of the money would be. It looked like it was more like $750,000 to $950,000.
Correct.
So, so you're absolutely right. He's been spot on the whole time.
We're still working, the committee last month pushed it forward
Okay.
to do more investigation on the parking. There's things that it's not just throwing a couple of pickleball courts. There's codes, and there's parking, and there's other pieces, and potentially more restroom use. So it is going to go, it's not going to happen tomorrow. There's no magic wand. But it is something that this committee recommended that Parks and Recreation look deeper into it. And it's not up to us, from us, it would have to come back to us and then go to City Council, because that's a major allocation of funds.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all you guys do.
Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. Is there anyone else that has any public input?
On the pickleball courts, are we talking about the same location, or could there be another location?
I think that Brian was looking at a couple of locations, but had ruled out, we had a lot of questions about where the Schumann tennis courts are, conversions, and there was a lot of information that wasn't a viable alternative. So I believe he ended with, he's going to bring back information to us with where it would be the best place to put it, utilizing resources that we have and making it happen.
So maybe like another park that has an area that could be used
Yes.
as the pickleball courts.
He's looking, I think the airport was one of the things that he was mentioning.
Yeah, he definitely looked at the property adjacent on the other side of the pickleball courts, to the south of it. That was one of the viable places. I know, the rent is about $7,000, to rent that space. That gets paid directly to the FAA, so we have, that cost every year. And then, there was some other issues. Parking, being another big one. We'd have to double the parking spaces, and an additional restroom would have to be installed. Those restrooms there are only to accommodate that usage of 10 courts.
I have a question. Has the county, putting out pickleball courts out there in the area where the pool is, I think there's some soccer fields out there. I think with so many people interested, has anyone talked to the county about putting courts out there?
I know I haven't. I haven't reached out to the county about where they want to put pickleball courts.
So
Because it seems like between Vero Beach and Sebastian, we have enough people that are wanting courts. That might be something we might want to look into, is approaching them and seeing about having courts put out there.
Great. I'll have a conversation with Mr. Benton about that. Thank you.
if we could, on our next agenda, just keep this pickleball as an item on unfinished business, just to make sure that we keep addressing it, because it's something that there's a lot of interest in. So, and the committee really wanted to provide the opportunity for everyone to be able to use courts and have them accessible. So I think we would like to make sure we don't drop the ball on this and just let it go. We know it's a lot of money, but we have like 5-year plans, and if we're going to do this, we're going to need to get that in the line for the 5-year plans.
Madam Chair, can I ask Mr. Vandermeer a question? Curiosity, I was bragging about our walking areas in the city at the parks, and I made a statement, and besides that, up 512, you could almost walk, for just serious walkers could walk up there. And there are a couple ladies said to me they'd be afraid to walk behind those trees there. You can't see anything. Do those trees belong to the state, or do we need permission to trim them, say at 6 foot height? Because I didn't think of that until I opened my big mouth, but I mean, I could see where somebody would be concerned about walking and
Right.
with our community growing. Do we know that they belong to the county, or do they belong to the state? And do we need permission from one of them to do anything, or would they?
Right, that's the county, and the county would have to come in and do all of that. The understanding is we can't work on their property and they can't work on ours.
So we'd have to make a
So
request?
we'd have,
then?
we'd have to make a public request that they come out and, trim up those trees at a height you're requesting and do any type of work inside their county right of way.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I
I
didn't-
walk and bike there. I do both, and it's one of the few places that you can go when the sun's out. I love the
know,
fact that
yeah.
it's like 15 feet high.
Yeah.
But it is remote, and there's a ditch also that is aligned with that, but it's one of the few shaded sidewalks to walk after the sun is at full thrust, so.
And I was gonna
just
make the
thinking if
same
we could
comment,
trim
because I
them like
ride
6
my
foot
bike.
high, so you still have all that shade and everything, but people can see what's going on.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a valid point.
Ms.
Yeah, but
White?
I think we'd be losing a lot of protection from the road, right? There might be some compromise there where there is some sort of visibility, but we're not just taking away all of that road protection.
I think it also is a little bit of a sound barrier for the houses that are right there also. But we have no jurisdiction because it doesn't belong to us.
Correct.
Miss
White.
Joanne, Miss White.
I ride my bike quite often through there, and I agree with you. It is a place where the sun is not beating down on you. You can get away from it. Also, times it's a wind blocker. And I think if people are gonna walk, a lot of times, taking a buddy or whatever, but I think it's okay the way it is right now. I'd hate to see it get cut or shortened down.
Thank you. Okay, everybody ready to move on to new business, which is moving our meeting for next month.
Yeah, so we're going to suggest that we move the next month's meeting from September 25th to October 2nd. That way we can come back to you and have real numbers on our parks allocation of money. We can tell you what we can spend through the parks. We won't know until October 2nd.
Till the budget's done.
Right, till the budget's done. So it'd be unfair to have that meeting and not have any information at that time for you. So by moving it 1 week, we'd be able to have all that information for you.
Members, any discussion about that?
Yeah, would that mean we're essentially skipping this September meeting and from then on it's the first week, or are we having 2 meetings in October?
No, this is just a temporary change.
It would be two meetings
two
in
in-
it would be two
Yeah.
meetings.
And then we'd have one on our
at
regular
the end.
meeting.
Yes.
Got it. The one at the end of October then, would that be on around the 25th, 28th, something like that? Because
I don't have the
we're running
schedule.
into holiday season, it's usually the last week.
It's usually the fourth Monday
Yeah.
is what the scheduling is. I believe
I
that.
think we already have the schedule made
Okay.
for the year, don't we?
Yes.
Fourth Monday.
Okay, so it's just this one we're adjusting. Okay.
So our scheduled meeting is 23 October.
Do we need to make a motion to move the meeting?
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we have the meeting scheduled for October 2nd.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Items for the next agenda. Does anyone have items for the next agenda? Just, we talked about putting in pickleball.
Right, yeah, my notes are mostly about pickleball. See if we have a different site other than the airport. Have a conversation with Brian about getting in touch with the county for maybe see what their plans are for a North County complex somewhere in the future and see what we can do there.
And I mentioned to Brian, last time, since we're having 2 meetings in October, maybe it could happen that the city attorney could attend to give us a sunshine update.
I'll definitely request that.
Does anyone have anything else for the good of the night? Okay, without further ado, we are adjourned. Oh, wait a minute. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? All right, we're done. See ya.
Aye.